So this is my rucksack for when I go mountaineering and climbing, but it is in pretty bad condition. I've had it for quite a few years now and I've used it so much. I've already mended it in different places, but I think it's finally time to retire this bag. I really like the design and the style and everything. The company I got it from doesn't make this bag anymore, but I thought that because this is basically kind of at the end of its life anyway, I would take it apart and try and copy it. It's made out of waxed cotton, which means that I can probably copy it quite easily. A lot of rucksacks are made from like technical fabrics, bonded together with different glues or techniques used in the factory that you can't normally replicate at home. But this bag is just stitched together out of material. So I think I've got a good chance of making another one. The good thing is that I also have this bag, which is the same style but a smaller version, and it means that I can take this apart and then use this one for reference to see how it's put together. I actually bought this bag from this company called Track, which I read about in a magazine. I read that they had started a company making rucksacks out of waxed cotton instead of like the synthetics that most rucksacks are made of. And I think it was quite early on in the company's existence, and it's honestly been amazing. I've had it kind of since I started climbing and mountaineering, and when I first got it, it was plenty big enough for what I needed. But now that I've been climbing and winter climbing for a lot longer, I actually probably need some more features on this bag, especially like a place to carry ice axes, because in the winter you kind of want to have your axes accessible on the outside of your bag. Because I'm going to make this myself, I could probably put on some extra webbing or something to accommodate stuff like that. Okay, now I just need to start taking it apart. Wow, oh my goodness, the colour difference in the fabric. I unpicked the bag so I could cut new fabric pieces accurately. The waxed cotton was worn out, but the webbing, metal hardware and zips were all fine, so I planned to reuse those. Okay, that was quite a while ago that I took the bag apart, and I've just had other things going on, but I really need to work on this now because I'm going to Scotland in 2 weeks and I need the bag, so I've got to get this done. One of the things I realised after I'd taken the bag apart was that my sewing machine is probably going to struggle to get through like multiple layers of a thick fabric like this. So that could be frustrating, but I'm going to see how far I can get, and if I have problems with it, I will just have to work out a solution. I pressed the old bag pieces so they were flat and then used them as guides to cut out the new fabric. Then I started sewing things together, working out what to do from the old pieces and my other bag. The sewing machine did struggle with the webbing. I had to sew very slowly. Okay, I have mostly made the top of the bag now, and I've kind of lined it with this fabric, and I'm going to put this piece on now, which will make this into like a little pocket inside. Next, I need to put this around the edge of this piece. This bit was especially hard to sew. It was so many layers of the heavy cotton oilcloth. Okay, so I'm making some progress on the bag. I've put this bit together, which is the back, and I'm trying to do these little triangles on the arm straps, but I'm having a lot of problems with the sewing machine basically like looping on the bottom of the sewing and just getting all tangled. And this, I think, is because the fabric is very thick. And it's also maybe to do with the tension. I've been trying to adjust things and I think I might have got it to work, but it just is a reminder that my sewing machine isn't really suitable for this kind of heavy duty sewing. Okay, I'm gonna try again. I don't know if I have solved this problem. This was the best I could do. It's not perfect, but hopefully good enough. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who follows this channel and for all the kind and encouraging things people say. Recently, a viewer called David got in touch to say that his neighbours, Dagmar and Chris, had an old Swedish loom that they were looking to rehome. I went to collect it and met them all. Dagmar is from Sweden and the loom originally belonged to her aunt.
The loom came from my aunt originally. She was born in 1894.
In Sweden?
In Sweden,
yeah.
Yes. And we don't quite know what the history was before she took it over, but she did go on a local, I know she went on a local weaving course of some kind, and I assume that this may have been got then.
Yeah.
She lent it to somebody who had it from late 30s or early 40s.
So they were using it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Here's one thing that she made,
Oh,
actually.
wow. Wow.
This is a typical Swedish
rag
rug.
Now, somebody really was using it quite a lot to make things.
She was wonderful. Yeah. She was the one who taught me to weave rag rugs when she had this loom at her house. Older one. And it's woven.
Oh wow, it's nicely finished.
That was woven somewhere in the area. Well,
right, here we go.
Dagmar had been using it to make rag rugs, and before we took the loom apart, the final rug had to be cut off.
I'm so afraid that you managed to slip down.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I got back late last night with the loom, and even though I don't think I have time right now to start using it, I'm going to put it together just while it's still fresh in my mind how it actually fits, because I'm worried that if I leave it too long, I will forget and it'll be a nightmare to try and work it out. Okay, I think also at this point I might just give it a wipe down to get off any dust. Alright, so this is the back, this way. These bars in the studio are left over from when the barn was used for milking cows, and they always turn out to be really useful. This loom is a counterbalance floor loom. There is a frame which stretches the warp threads for weaving between two rollers so that the fabric can be wound on as the weaving progresses. It has these foot pedals which raise and lower different threads to create the space to feed in the weft thread. It's a bit challenging, this stage, because I have to get all these bits in place before I can start to knock it together, and they keep falling out. I really like this. It's got that really good smell, which I can't describe, but it reminds me of my grandparents' house. I guess it's like old wood smell, I don't know. So the other thing I got on my trip was this spinning wheel, which actually David was the person who knows Dagmar and Chris and told them I might be able to use their loom. He also had this spinning wheel, and so I've got that as well now, which is really exciting because I've been considering getting a spinning wheel for a long time, but I just hadn't got round to it, kind of because I was daunted and I didn't know enough about them to know how to choose one. But now I've got this one. I am really excited to learn how to use it. I have used them maybe once or twice, but but I don't fully understand enough yet. And this also does need some TLC, so it will probably involve kind of overhauling it and then doing some research to learn how to use it. Okay, the other thing that is weird, but I really like, is that this being in here does something to this room. I don't know, but this room always felt kind of empty and a bit strange, like it was never finished, and maybe just because there was this big space in the middle of it. But now having this in here, the room feels very different. It almost feels more cozy. I think what it is that now this room kind of has purpose, because to be honest, this room was not the one I've been using the most. I actually have been doing most things in the other space. That's where I've got the sewing machine and my table and the desk. And in this room, it was kind of just where I was storing things and where I was coming to be near the stove when it was very cold. But now that this can live in here, it's going to give the room like an actual function, which I didn't realise is maybe really important to how the room feels. So I'm at the point with this where the back is pretty much done, and I need to think about making the inside pocket. I'm using this blue material instead of the orange. As I'm going to Scotland soon for winter climbing and mountaineering, I made some chocolate brownies. Even though this recipe has a lot of sugar and butter, I feel like days in the mountains are the best excuse to make something like this. Okay, so the thing I need to work out next is where I'm gonna have the axes. So this bag is the same type of bag, it's just a bit smaller, but I've put some fabric in it to help me work out how I can carry these on the outside. So something like this maybe, if I can put a little thing they can go through, and then some webbing to go around maybe here, or maybe this would be better. I added some pieces of fabric and webbing to the front of the bag. I decided to use the same old D-rings again, even though they're looking a bit worn and the paint is coming off. They're still perfectly functional, and I kind of want the bag to still have some of the story of its previous use. I think this is the bit that the sewing machine is going to hate the most because it's so many layers of fabric. So I am a bit worried about this. Okay, so the bag is basically done. I really like how it looks, but next I need to put like metal eyelets into here so that the drawstring can go in the top. So I'm going to try that now. The hardest part of this is actually cutting a hole. I think it's because it's so many layers of fabric to cut through. Okay, the rucksack is all done and I'm packed for Scotland, so I'm gonna get to test it out. Hopefully everything will work okay and there won't be any disasters on the mountain. But yeah, I am really happy with this. I really think that it turned out well.